friends, I wanted to come to you with an update about the auction for the Miracle Valley Bible College property. We have entered day 2 of the auction, and a lot of you have asked what is going on. They thought it all finished yesterday, but online auctions are a little bit different, and the way that this is not done on the courthouse steps, but in fact is done online through a several-day process. So what happens is it started yesterday, September 11th, 2023, and it goes all the way through to the 22nd of September. So during this process, people can bid at any time, and as you can imagine, because it is an auction, nobody wants to show their hand first, so we likely may not see any action. That if there's to be any action, it's probably going to happen in the last few minutes on the 22nd of September. But we will keep you apprised of everything as it's going. It's not something that everyone can see because you do have to be a bidder in order to see what's going on, but you can trust that we will definitely keep you informed about what's going on. I want to share with you something that our team has really felt that God's been putting on our heart as we have really leaned into what God's agenda is. Back in December 2022, God clearly spoke to me while I was visiting Miracle Valley and said, it's time to take the land and recover all. And we have, as a team, really felt that God has said, now is the time. There is a lot of time since my great-grandpa passed in 1970. The property very quickly went out of family hands. It was a nonprofit at the time. Over the decades, it has been through multiple hands. But our family has always had a heart for this community. There's lots and lots of prophetic words. We've been sharing those in the Miracle Valley Oasis Center Facebook group as they're coming up. God has really spoken that now is the time to do this. And so our family has stepped in with obedience to say, okay, let's do this. And we really feel the heart of God on what's happening. And so we want to ask you to step into faith with us. What we want to do is not focus on what if this auction doesn't go right, but we do want to protect your interests because we really care about what matters to you. I wrote an article just recently on our website about the 5 questions you need to ask yourself before you donate to anyone. And this is just a really good financial and spiritual look at the hard questions that you should ask and that any organization should have readily available for you to look at before you give any finances to them so that you can protect yourself. And so we really want you being protected in all of this. But having said that, and knowing that you can get all of that information readily from us and look through that, I will put a link to it below. There is actually a need for us to stand up as people of God in obedience, and all of us have a different thing that we are called to. Some of us are called to move to Miracle Valley. Some of us are called to be part of restoring the property. Some of us are called to be people who pull out our wallets and say, I've got some funds. I could give $10, or I can give $500, or I have $100,000. Whatever amount God puts on your heart, that is the amount that you should go in. And I know everybody's got $5, so I want to include that and say, if you have $5, please give it. Let's do this together. But I want to pivot the conversation now. Let's be people who anticipate that God is moving. And let's not just focus on the what ifs of an auction, but let's remember that God said he's doing this. We believe as a team and as a family, the A.A. Allen family, that God has said now is the time to take the land and recover all. So with that said, let's pivot from a conversation about, is this happening? Let's stop worrying about what's going to happen, and let's be people who trust that God's doing something. For us as a team, that looks like us taking action to shift the conversation and ask you to consider giving right into what is coming. We know that God is doing this, and we know that He is going to help us to restore this property. And so we're going to need finances to make that happen. Let's stop having a conversation about, are we getting this property? Because we know that we're getting this property because God said it and it's done. When God says that something's happening, it's happening. So we want to ask you to join us in faith and recognize that God is moving. He is on the move. So we want to shift a few things on the website and invite you to give. Still, you can give into this restoration fund, and we will, until there are keys in the hand, we will refund finances. We will give money back if that is what we're doing. But I don't even think it's necessary to have this conversation because this is happening. But we will absolutely honor that. So if you give into the restoration, that purchase and restoration fund, that's where your money's going, absolutely. And we will refund it if we are not successful in having this property put in our hands. But if we are honest, we have work to do. We have a restoration to prepare for, and we don't want to waste any time. So with that in mind, we are going to also open up the general fund and ask you to consider if you can trust that we are looking out for the best interest of making this happen. Would you consider giving into the general fund, which is non-refundable, that will allow us to look after the property that we've already purchased across the highway that is ready for us. This will help us to hire people who can help us, because we do need some workers that are paid workers, and we need to pay our attorneys who have helped us greatly in preserving this property up to this point. There are general costs of running a business that we have not asked for any funding for, and we will find ourselves in a difficult place if nobody gives into the general fund, but we certainly will put aside any money that you want to put right into this fund. So what we are asking is, if you put into the general fund, that is non-refundable and will be used towards all that God is doing. And we've got a lot of plans. You can see them on the vision page. You can see our restoration timeline and see everything unfolding and where our money is going at this point. And as this auction finishes up and we get to a point where the property is in our hands, then we can be much more transparent, and we'll certainly show you through what's going on with the finances. And then we would like to be in a position to be able to just hit the ground running. And we're going to need both restricted funds that are for this particular condition of using it to restore the property, get it purchased, restore it. And that includes a handful of things. It includes restoring all the stuff. It includes property purchase, and it includes archive purchase. There's a lot of stuff that can go on there, but our first priority is securing the property. Once that's been done, then we shift gears to all of that restoration conversation, and so that we can make sure and prioritize effectively, and get a roof on that tabernacle that matters so deeply to all of us, to preserve, and get started with so many other things. So what I want to do is invite you to come on the journey with us of faith and saying, God is doing this. We want to partner with Him, and we want to not wait in anticipation and say, ooh, what if this doesn't happen? But instead say, we are people of faith and obedience. And so we are working on securing this property, and you are working on helping us fund it. And that means telling your friends, going out into the highways and byways and bringing people in, letting them know how they can get involved. Let's be people of vision. And in saying that, I still want to say, of course, we are going to protect that fund that is for restoration. It's going to go first toward the purchase of the property, and then at that point it is non-refundable because all of that property will have been secured, and then it'll be used for that restoration fund that we've talked about. And we are in need of general funds as well. So if you trust us, please know that we are going to use that effectively, just like we have all these months to protect these properties from demolition. We have been able to accomplish so much with your support, and we are so grateful for your continued support. And so we want to ask you to really partner with us in what God is doing in this next moment, and let's be ready to take action when the keys are ours, so that we can not have any delay in pursuing the restoration of what matters so deeply to us. I'll put some links below so that you can check those out and participate, and we appreciate your support. God is so good. He is doing big things. Let's partner together.